Evaluating a fund is secondary. First of all, you need to evaluate a fund house. So that starts with whether you trust that brand enough to buy the schemes that a fund house launches. So I have had this problem with very many Indian names, Indian business names, and could be Indian, foreign, whatever, though anybody who's operating in India. And many of them have not been very inspiring. Out of 42 fund houses, I have not invested significant amounts of money in more than 2-3 fund houses. Yes, I have invested in maybe 10 fund houses, but then those are not really significant. I mean, doing a 5,000 rupee SIP or a 1 lakh rupee one time, I wouldn't call that very significant. But yes, I have some exposure in say 8-9 schemes or 8-9 fund houses, maybe in 20 schemes, because I like to also experiment to see how is it doing. So I do think it's worth doing an SIP in a very fluctuating kind of scheme, because I know what will work, and I know that I will not interrupt the compounding anytime soon. So those are all things which I do, but those are more experimenting with money than investing money. So my money is largely invested in 2-3 fund houses and not in some 10 fund houses. But through all my scrutiny, I don't think I want to invest in more than 5 or 6 fund houses, not more than that, definitely. Or so how do I evaluate? I first of all evaluate by seeing whether they are reasonably competent. Okay, I am not saying the fund manager has to be the greatest, he has to be the best. He has to be reasonably competent, and he has to be, bluntly put, brutally honest. Honesty for me is very important, and believe me, this is an industry where whispers become very loud very quickly. And so I know of fund managers who have not been the most honest, and those are fund houses which I completely avoid. So even if I hear about some bad behavior by a debt fund manager in a particular fund house, I will not touch that fund house for anything. Absolutely nothing I have done with some such fund houses. Yes, they have been very intellectually very challenging to be dealing with them. It would be good, but I just don't touch them, because once upon a time I heard a story. Yes, this is bias, but I've seen them do transactions which were more for their benefit or for somebody else's benefit and not for the unit holder's benefit. One such transaction completely mars you. In the exception has been in case of HDFC, where one of the fund managers was caught with insider trading, and still I have continued to invest, because I do believe that Prashant Jain and Milind Barve, now of course Munot, would have set in a process by which such a thing would be an exception. But other than that, if I hear any story, any murmur, then I probe it, and largely one can find out what exactly happened if you have enough contacts among brokers and fund houses and people, ex-fund managers, etc. So some such experience has happened that has been very jarring. So those fund houses I just don't touch. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for reasonable competence and total honesty, right? This combination is necessary. Then I normally like to meet somebody in the fund management team, and generally among the employees also. When I meet the employees, I'm looking for decent level of service and not too much of arrogance. Arrogance you can't avoid, because when funds perform well, the back office thinks that because of them the fund is performing well. So yes, arrogance is something which you have to put up with most of financial service industry. I personally don't suffer from too much of arrogance, because they know that I can go bypass and get it done by somebody else. But yes, if you are a small investor and you walk into many of these branches, you really feel apologetic that you even invested in these places. So IIT, thank you, because you can invest in many of these companies without interacting much. But yes, many of their websites suck. It's not worth investing. So from a convenience point of view, it is very important that the fund house have an office somewhere near me, because I would not trust IT completely. But I am currently invested in fund houses where I have no clue where is their office, but I have invested online hoping that things would go right, and whenever I want, I'll be able to redeem the money. So not so much of an issue, but yes, the people are an issue, the tenor is an issue. When I started investing with some of these funds, they did not have a very long tenor. I mean, I started investing in 2000, so I can't even say that I was looking for funds with very great track record, because they did not even have a track record, right? So if you see HDFC's performance comes from the funds they got and the people they got from Zurich. And in case of Templeton, the fund, the performance came from the managers that they got from Kothari Pioneer. So it is not to say that these were great fund houses, but these fund houses acquired, knew what to buy, or they were lucky enough to buy that. But after that, they stuck to the team, stuck with the team and all that. So that worked as an advantage for both. But both of them either had some expertise of their own, but largely the expertise was acquired with one acquisition which they both did. They did other acquisitions, but I'm saying most of the talent and the funds, etc., came from one acquisition which they did. And those were the more successful schemes. Even today, the scheme, which I mean, you see is HDFC 100, it used to be Zurich Top 200, right? From there, it became HDFC Top 100 today. So that is the metamorphosis from a caterpillar to a butterfly. So we have seen all that. So I also like to see fund houses with good processes, so that you can be sure that if one fund manager leaves, there should not have a problem. Now that I can talk about, say, Franklin Templeton, because when I invested in Franklin India Blue Chip, Anand Radhakrishnan was nowhere in sight. So I like the way that they smoothly manage the transition. So here is a fund house where I've seen retirement. Similarly, I would not have invested in any fund of ICICI Prudential, but once Nilesh joined and Naren joined, I started looking at that, and I started investing in Naren from day one in this IPRU Discovery Fund. So after having identified 2, 3, 4 fund houses, you don't really need to look too much for all the 42 fund houses. Yes, there could be periods of underperformance. For me, it didn't matter too much, because largely I'm an equities guy, so I have most of my money in direct equity. But when I have invested in all these 3, 4 fund houses, I keep looking at them, I keep sometimes talking to them, and there are many times when I like their portfolio with pathetic results, and sometimes I like their performance, which is fantastic, and their portfolio is just about okay. So sometimes I like the performance, sometimes I like the portfolio. And something very important, I've never redeemed from these funds. So when I meet them and they say something and I think, oh my god, this is so wrong and completely contrary to what I'm thinking, to me it doesn't matter. I don't redeem, because I want the benefit of their contrarian thinking, right? So therefore I don't redeem. And I like the fact that most of the funds in which I have invested, which are older funds, have had very long tenure. Like in 2002, when I bought whether an HDFC or a Templeton, I think it was by then called Templeton, not Kothari Pioneer. When I bought those schemes, I did not know that the fund managers would last this long. The fact that they lasted so long helped me, I think, in the performance. I like now I should also tell you what I don't like in fund houses. I don't like fund houses where the asset management charges are little too high, where the fund management charges keep changing. To me, that is a very big indicator, red flag, saying there is something wrong. Why would the debt fund change its asset management charges on a month-to-month basis? And there are such fund houses. So I have some money in one such fund house, but I don't like the fact that their processes are not as robust as I would like it to be. In many cases, I know the fund manager, or in some cases I know the CEO, and so therefore a huge level of comfort is when I know that these people are ramrod straight and clean as a whistle. This thing really helps, because I have no clue how much of inefficiency can be there in the system, but dishonesty is not an inefficiency which I am willing to accept. Fund schemes which are very ambiguous, fund schemes which are company making very dubious performance projections. I've seen a unit link plan make terrible projections. They use the numbers from a mutual fund and said, well, our SIP is also like this only, which was completely wrong. I wouldn't like to invest in such companies. Too much rewarding of financial advisors, too many foreign trips, etc. inexplicable change of schemes and merger of schemes, etc., which I think is unnecessary. But if some of those things happen to me, it's a red herring, and at least I will stay away and not touch it for a few years, right? So applying some of these criteria, talking to friends, etc., I've come down to 4 or 5 fund houses, and so significant amount of money lies in these 4 or 5 fund houses. I have given out some of the names, but it does not mean I'm still investing there or not investing there. This is the process that I had used. I may have stopped investing, but my funds may still be lying there because I don't need the money. In some cases, I may have stopped an SIP in one place and started in another place, right? So yeah, I have looked at new fund houses. I put in some money there, but not significant money. This includes Invesco, it includes Mirai, it includes PPFAS, what have you, right? These 3-4 names which are newer names compared in my portfolio, Motilal Oswal. So I have put money in DSP. I have put money in all these companies also, but not too much. Reasonable amounts of money I have put in one of those fund houses, and largely saying, out of these 42 fund houses, first of all, the fact is I have a limited amount of money. There is no reason for me to look at too many fund houses. So I don't look at too many fund houses. I do not know, because doing a performance evaluation is very easy. You just pick up some numbers and somebody would have done some rating system and you say, oh, this works. To me, it doesn't work that way. To me, I need to know that the fund manager will leave enough on the table for investors and not be greedy. He will book profits when it is necessary. I want to see all that. I want to see a process by which he is doing all this. Once you've seen the process and you know that the process works, after that money is safe, right? It is well managed, or whatever you are supposed to say for that, right? So once these things are in place, I don't need to look at too many fund houses. Therefore, I have not looked. I am not saying these fund houses are not good. I have not had the need to look at them, because for me, after 3-4 fund houses and with say 15 schemes each, I have 60 schemes to choose from, and believe me, that's far more than what I need to choose, because I need only 2-3 funds, right? Thank you.